Alright, um, in this particular video we're going to start, um, we're probably not going to start writing code, but we're going to have our project set up correctly for annotation processing, and we're going to have Java Poet added as a dependency, and we're going to create our interdependencies within the project. Yeah, so yeah, if this is the first video you're watching, this is a video where we are going to attempt at creating Mockito from scratch. So I am using IntelliJ and Gradle as my build system. So let's go do that. I'm using Gradle, like I said. Let's call it our Mockito. Empty project, create. By the way, this is the library that I mentioned, Java Poet, that allows you to do these things. For instance, create this method right here. This is what you do, as opposed to having to write it line by line. Well, obviously this is a 6-line, well, 5 lines of code piece. You could have done this in a single, I mean 5 single lines, but um, at scale, this Java Poet is significantly cleaner, and there's just no way around that. So yeah, so we create our project. Where'd that go? Interesting. Um, can't seem to find our project. Let's see. Did I not create it? Ah, it didn't create. I guess we can create it again. Our Mockito. Well, it's not empty. Then show it. I don't know where it is. Anyways, open. Yeah, let me figure this out and come back. Yeah, so I found it here. Cool. So this is our project. I'm using Gradle because I figured everyone's familiar with Gradle. Um, the only other option in my previous annotation processing videos, I had used IntelliJ's own um, build system, which I don't think is very common. So to make it more relevant, I went ahead with Gradle's build system. So we have our main class here. Let's get rid of these. We're not going to run our main class because it's Mockito. Well, Mockito mock. So yeah. Interesting that it didn't create the test classes. Did that before. Very interesting. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but I recreated the project, and it did create the test files, so which is good. The only thing we're going to do here, we're going to create a new package to match this. Create mock test. Yeah, so this is going to be class where things are being tested. Obviously, we're not going to run this just yet, but yeah, basically that's what's going to happen. So let's go ahead with the rest of our setup. We're going to create a new module. We're going to call it our Mockito API. Again, Gradle. Yep. Create. Yeah, it's always going to create a main class for even your submodules. But yeah. And then we're going to create another module called our Mockito processor. Okay, cool. So for our, this is the processor, right? Yep. So go ahead and delete the main file. You don't need it. You don't need it in your API either. Just delete it. While we're not gonna run this just yet, let's set up our annotation processor to be, at the very least, um, set up correctly. I forgot how that's done, but let's see. All right. So in right here underneath your resources, create a new folder. I'm gonna call this the same on every platform. Meta INF, and underneath that create a new empty file, and the name needs to be exactly the same. It's called JavaX annotation processing, not processor, processing processor. Um, you know what? I'm actually going to copy paste it from my project that works, that already has this. Um, all right, that's what I'm going to do. Create a new file. Yep, just to make sure. JavaX annotation processor. Cool. Enter that, and then within that you need to add the class path to your actual processor, which we currently don't have. So let's create that here. Again, oh wait, we put under API. No, we need to put it our processor. So let's move this here. Yep, cool. That's better. So as you can see on the resources for our processor a module, you have this file, and inside that module type in. Well, let's create our processor first. Create a new class, our Mockito processor. And your processor needs to extend. Java has a class that does this, so it needs to extend abstract processor. And then implement the methods. Yeah, obviously we're going to add significantly more stuff here, but not in this video. This video is just for the setup. So once you do that, you go back to where this is where you declare the processor, so the compiler knows. You type in org example. Basically, the exact setup for your processor here. I mean, exact class path is what I meant. Yep. Cool. And then in your, close these up, and then in your build a Gradle file here, you need to add your auto modules as dependencies, but particularly in a different way, because Mockito is a test dependency, so you don't want your actual module to depend on it. You want your test module to testing environment to depend on it. And the way you do that is in Mockito, in Gradle, is this thing called test implementation. Same way they do here, tests implementation project map of path to our Mockito API. Yep. And we're going to do the same for other one. Actually, now we're going to use test annotation processor, but the exact same setup as the other one. Our Mockito processor. Cool. So let's go to our Mockito processor, and we're going to add Java Poet there. This library. You want to add. The way the setup is actually shown here. I don't know. Yeah, compile. So compile, it's It doesn't work in the new Gradle versions. So you need, again, I think implementation. Let's see how I did that. Yeah, what you need is implementation. Yes, basically. But you want also add implement. The reason we're adding implementation here, well, we only did test implementation, other one, in our project level Gradle file was because Mockito is a test library, and we only needed to be able to do testing. But your processor module itself doesn't run things on testing environment. It runs it on its actual annotation processing. So no testing stuff here. So direct implementation, and then you do. Oh yeah. So what we're doing here is that our Mockito processor will depend on our our API module as well. So we're gonna basically do what we did here. Copy that, but not test implementation. Instead, we're gonna use actual implementation. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think we're good. Let's build a project to make sure it all builds still. Cool. Um, yeah, I think this is the exact setup we need. And let's see. Yeah, in the next video, we're going to start typing up our API, but we're not going to run the annotation processor just yet. But we are going to run the API. I mean, we're not going to run it, but we're going to start creating it. Thank you for watching, and let me know how you like it.